I have the pleasure of doing these types of workshops and webinars very often to help financial advisors improve their marketing and communications with both clients and prospects. So I'm really believe that the more we can make this 30 to 45 minutes, the better versus a whole hour. So we want to make it as useful as possible. And if you have any questions, I'd like to answer them as we're going through. So feel free to drop them in the chat. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting before, I am Samantha Russell. I am our chief evangelist here at FMG, which basically just means I get to do a lot of this, doing teaching and education and workshops to help advisors with their marketing. And my goal for you all today is to have one thing that you can leave here and implement right away. So I'm going to ask you at the end, what's that one thing that's going to be your big takeaway? Hopefully it'll be 2 or 3, but we want to make sure you at least have one. So yes, the recording will be sent to you. That is the number one question we get if you are surprised after every webinar. And we really, again, want this to be participatory. So I'm going to ask some questions. And because you all are in the trenches, in the thick of it, we want you to be able to learn from each other. So instead of just learning from me, we all learn a lot more if we all participate. So I'm really going to encourage you all to answer the questions I ask in the chat. So my question number 1 for you all, if you could put in the chat, is, do you feel currently that you have a system in place? Like you got to print out on your wall, when you get a new client, here's all the steps we take that yes, get their account set up and things like that, but also make them feel like they're going to be a part of our community. They're going to get the right communications from us. They're going to follow us on social media. Do you feel like you have a good process in place for that? So let's see, we got no, right? A bunch of no's right off the bat, which I guess makes sense why you're here, and a few yeses. So if you do have a yes, hopefully you'll get some good new tips for how to make it even more welcoming and lovely. And for those of you that it's a no, this should be a good guideline at least to get started. All right. So these are the 4 things we're going to discuss today: how to create a new client welcome series, how to automate those birthdays and greetings so that people, again, just feel like, those touch points that are really important at certain dates, and then how to use your CRM to really turbocharge this whole thing. And then most importantly, I think, how to personalize the process to make it feel less like a process and more like an experience, right? We don't want to feel like we just went through a process. We want to feel like we had a great experience. That's where those referable moments, if you wish, come in. So there is an advisor that I was talking to not that long ago, and he told me, for instance, every time that a new client joins, he is a carpenter and a woodworker, and he loves making things. He actually will make them a pen with using whittling wood, and makes them a pen and gives it to them in their initial first meeting or first follow-up meeting. I can't remember which one it is, but how cool is that? It's a hobby that he loves, which is woodworking, and he turns it into something that welcomes new clients, right? So I'd love to know in the chat, do you have something that you give to somebody as sort of a welcome to the team or welcome to working with us? Let us know what it is, and we'll see if we have any ideas. Another idea that I thought was great that a firm told us is that, they have multiple advisors and staff people in their office. And when the new clients come in, they really make it a point to tell, the admin at the front desk and maybe a paraplanner, anybody involved, to just ask the client questions about where they went to school, where they like to go on vacation, all these things. And then after that client leaves, they challenge themselves as a group who could come up with a really fun welcome gift that would be unique to that person. So not only is it going to be hyper specific to that person, not everybody gets the same thing, but it gets everybody in the office involved. So every staff person gets to be a part of this challenge of thinking what could be the coolest gift for this particular person. And they do set a budget, I think of like $100, $150, but what a awesome way to, get everyone involved. So let's see what some people said. Oh, Leslie, a handcrafted cutting board with their last name on it. I love that. Laura said a journal, a pen, and a welcome letter. Love that. Tiffany said a t-shirt. So Tiffany, is the t-shirt have your company logo on it or swag? Because we are going to talk about swag and company swag here in a minute. And I love to hear what swag items people have. So you'll have to let us know. Okay, I'm going to go and pull these slides back up. Here we go. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And this stat comes from Advisor Growth Strategies. They found that firms with a structured onboarding process experience 50% greater new client retention, which makes sense, right? If we make sure we don't have any, leaky faucets, leaky holes in the faucet, we're going to lose less people. So I think we know that inherently, but how do we actually go about it? And just to also remember that, especially if you're in a firm where there's multiple people, I think what often happens is whatever we were doing initially, if it was just us or the firm was small, we don't always go back and update that process as the firm grows. So how do we think, okay, we have multiple people involved now, who's doing what, who's responsible for what, and how do we make sure where if, Sally, who's in this role over here, leaves our firm tomorrow, the next person coming in knows exactly what they need to do to pick up the pieces in that onboarding process, right? So that is why having a system is so important. Okay. And then 89% of clients say a good onboarding experience is critical to their experience to stay with a firm. I thought that I wanted to include this because I just thought this stat was incredible in the sense of, before somebody even really has a chance to see what you can do for them, to see what kind of advisor you can be for them, they're already determining whether they're going to stay or not just based on that onboarding experience. So this just goes back to the idea in everything in life, those first impressions are critical. We teach in marketing all the time. The first line of your email or the first sentence in your video is so important for grabbing attention and determining whether someone will keep watching or keep reading. In your experience working with clients, those first interactions are hugely important if they'll continue to have a good experience. And it's not just the in-person part. I think that's where we at FMG can really, really help, and we do help. It's all of the communications, right? So the emails, the different language that you're using to welcome them on board. So I just saw a question from Leonard saying, does FMG have a structured process we can use? Yes, we do. And I will show you where to find that. Do we have any FMG customers on today's call? I know we did a version of this for our customers earlier the month, but if you are a customer, let me know. Okay, so I'm seeing some yeses. But we did have a whole version of this where Elise from our team did a did you know version of this for customers. And so we can link to that as well, but we will show you where to find those resources in FMG as well. Okay, so let's just think about, the client longevity and how does onboarding actually improve it, right? So the positive onboarding experience sets the tone for the long-lasting relationship. Then the clients feel, more satisfied right out of the gate. But the more you have a process in place, the more you can personalize it. And one thing I think we can all agree upon is that the experience someone has, right, is really, really crucial in our industry as so many things become commoditized. Investment management, certain things feel like, oh, I can just plug into this kind of a fund and get these type of returns. Whether that's true or not, that's how people often perceive it. So the experience, the relationship is what sets things apart. And so that personalized experience is so crucial now more than ever. And then also from the get-go, if you have a great experience, that proactive communication is going to set the tone that the client is going to feel like, I'm going to hear from this person regularly. They're going to listen to what I have to say, and here's what I can expect in terms of communication from them. And the continuous improvement just means as you hear feedback from clients, you can change maybe how you do things, which will only improve loyalty over time. So this is sort of a little cheat sheet, if you will, of all of the steps, and we did it kind of broken into contact management, pre-meeting, and first meeting, all of the steps that we suggest and we know are proven to work for you to take as you're onboarding someone. And then we have documents and emails in our system that match these different components. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. But again, these slides are going to be given to you, but think of this almost as a checklist, right? So when we think about the contact management, the very first thing you're going to want to be doing, if you have a CRM, of course, is adding that client into your CRM. If they're already a prospect, they might already be in there, but add them in the CRM as now a client, which once you get all this set up, should trigger a series of emails to them based upon the fact that they are now labeled as a client. If you have WealthBox CRM, maybe let us know in the chat if you do. We can drop, Aubrey in the back end, if you could drop the link to the WealthBox and FMG YouTube video that we did about how we integrate those two services. We just did one recently, but we have a whole like email sequence set up in there for you that will be really helpful for client onboarding as well. If you're using Redtail, it's also really easy once you add them to the CRM and you list them as a client. Those groups are going to be transferred over into our system as well. So really any CRM that you're using, we play nice with. And what that just means is if you set up groups in your CRM, they are going to be transferred into FMG. So when you go to your emails in FMG, let's say in your CRM, you have clients and prospects, two different groups. Those groups will also, you can carry them over into FMG as well. So you're going to, again, set them up in your CRM, then you're going to assign them to those groups, clients and prospects at a minimum, because we want clients to be treated differently. And then you also want to make sure that their birthday and any kind of anniversaries, maybe if it's a marital anniversary, but also just their client anniversary. What's the date they became a client? Because how lovely is it to be able to say every year, hey, it's your 1-year client anniversary or your 5-year client anniversary. So marking the date that they become a client is a really, really nice little touch. And then you're going to have that initial email be triggered, which is going to send an email with your meeting scheduler. So I'm going to show you what that welcome email looks like here shortly, but that is going to, again, set the stage. So that all is going to happen in your CRM, again, because FMG ties into the different CRMs that you're using. So I saw somebody said Salesforce, Redtail, WealthBox, any of those, it will work. Okay, so you've got this new client, you've done the CRM part. Now you're going to send that first, you're going to have an initial meeting with them. So you want to send the meeting email, right? So we're right here. And I'm going to show you again, in FMG, we have all of this done for you. So you can take the templates that we already have and you can edit them to make them specific for you, or you can use them out of the box that we already have them written. A pro tip, though, that I like to suggest is when you're sending that first initial email, it just makes it a little bit more personalized and kind of warm and fuzzy to include a video. So this doesn't have to be a one-to-one, like you record a new video for every client, but you can just use a tool like Loom. Aubrey, maybe we can put this in the chat, Loom, or you can use even Zoom, or you can use something like Veed, veed.io. These are all tools that allow you to record yourself right on your desktop, make quick edits, and then you can embed that video in your email that you send out to all clients that are just getting started. So it's just a really nice way to personalize it. And FMG makes it really easy to add video to any email, which I can show you. Someone just asked, is Loom an app? If you go to their website, we've linked it. It basically becomes like an app on your desktop that allows you to record yourself. And you can also record your screen if you want. So let's say you wanted to make the welcome video, not just you talking, but you're on your website and you're showing them, this is where you can book a meeting with me. This is where you can access your client accounts. You can record your screen and your face at the same time. Oh, Felicia just mentioned BombBomb. Yes, BombBomb's another great one. There's lots of video tools, but regardless, you want to keep it to under a minute and a half. And really, it's just welcoming the client to the firm. And again, short is definitely better. And then our pro tip is to save this, as a template. So if you're not using FMG, you want to save it as a template in whatever, platform you're using. If you are using FMG, again, we have these kind of sequences already built out for you. And then you're going to have your first meeting. So you're going to meet them. If it's in person, meet them in your office, maybe give them a quick tour. This is where the bathroom is. This is where refreshments are. If it's a virtual meeting, you can spend a little time, obviously, getting to know them, all the things you would normally do. And if it is a virtual meeting ahead of time, if you normally give clients some sort of swag item with your logo on it or something that's just a touch point, make sure that you send it to them in the mail ahead of the meeting so that you can say, did you get your, items, and have it be a nice little touch point, welcome touch point. And on that note, I would love to know in the chat, do you have swag with your logo on it currently that you share with new clients, existing clients? What has been really popular for you? I know everybody for the longest time loved those Yeti coffee cups, and tons of people were doing that. I've seen like the little calendars where you pull things away. An idea somebody just told me that they do is they get coffee table books, something that somebody would really love to display on their coffee table. And then when you open up the first page, they just put their firm's logo as a sticker in the front of the book. But it's something that is displayed. And so every time, a guest comes to their house, if they're talking about this beautiful coffee table book, it's a touch point that the client is going to remember you gave it to them. And it might be a way for them to bring up your name to the person they're talking to. Okay, let's look at the chat. Wow, you guys have so many great ideas. So we have monogram coasters, lots of pens and note bags, canvas bags. I don't know about you all. Now that so many grocery stores want you to bring your own bags, I cannot get enough canvas bags. And then they get gross. Sometimes you have to throw them away. 3/4 zip shirts. That's a good one. You're out on the golf course. We all could use one of those. Lots of Yeti mugs. Let's see what else. T-shirts, and we do a new design every year. Koozies. Oh gosh, if I was in the South, we don't need koozies as much up here in Pennsylvania year round, but down in the South, I feel like that would be great. Will you touch on using My Rep Chat? Yes, we're going to touch on My Rep Chat. For those of you who are not familiar, FMG acquired the company My Rep Chat just about a year ago, which is a compliant texting platform that allows you to text with your clients. And there's also, ways to easily make that client onboarding process partially get done via text. And one of the crazy stats we found when we were looking at data is that when you send a client a DocuSign via email, tell me please in the chat, how long does it normally take for people to fill out those DocuSigns or fill out paperwork, right? You might email them multiple times, days, weeks go by, it gets buried, whatever. Marcus said sometimes a year. Thank you, Marcus. We found with My Rep Chat, when you would text someone to say, hey, Marcus, can you please fill out the DocuSign? People were getting the DocuSigns back on average in 5 minutes. 5 minutes, like just unbelievably crazy. So texting is the future when it comes to a lot of this sort of making it part of the onboarding process. So we'll touch base on that. If you haven't checked out My Rep Chat, again, it is an FMG company. We had 1,400 people sign up for that service last month because it is texting with clients is just an exploding need that people have, and especially the compliance part. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Oh, what did Rick said? I started using text with DocuSign and it has improved completion in a big way. This can be done via DocuSign rather than sending a separate text. Oh, that's great. All right, so I want to make sure we have time to show you all the good templates. You guys are full of great ideas. Thank you for that, Rick. If anyone else has other ways that they use My Rep Chat or texting with client onboarding, let us know in the chat. Love to hear how you guys are doing it. So after you, again, provide that welcome swag, then you're going to ask the client, how do you want to be communicated with? And this is really, really important because, again, on our end, we are going to give you every email and social media post and event tool under the sun to help you market and communicate. But if a client only wants to be, he only wants to hear from you once a month, that's a big different than once a week. And so you can actually ask them their communication preferences and then put people in different groups in that client bucket. So you have the group clients. You can then segment them further so that the people who only want to get your newsletter once a month, that's as much as they're getting it, right? So it's really important to ask people what they want. What I find is that a lot of firms don't want to over communicate. And so then they end up not communicating enough. And I always say no one is going to fire their advisor for over communicating. They might get annoyed and say, like, you're sending me too many emails, Jason, and be kind of laughing about it. But nobody's going to fire you for that. They may fire you, though, if you communicate not enough, right? If they never, ever hear from you. So asking their preference is really, really important. And then you're going to think about scheduling out your future meetings and, sending them a card basically saying, after the first meeting and they've been with you a little while, thank you. We're glad that you are trusting us. And that just sets a nice tone for your relationship together. All right. So here is one of those pre-made new client welcome messages that you can find in FMG. And I'm just going to go into the FMG library here, make this full screen. Can everyone let me know in the chat, can you see the FMG dashboard now? Just want to make sure you're all seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Yes. Awesome. So if you come in here into your FMG dashboard, right? If you're in your content library, you can search something up here like new client. And when you search that, it's going to give you a list of all the different types of communications, templates, everything we have that's going to make the client onboarding process a little bit easier. So you can see this one is the new client welcome kit. And you download this and it gives you a step-by-step procedure of what we recommend you do in terms of onboarding a new client. So you can see here, what type is it? Is it a greeting card? Is it a downloadable? You can also up here, when you actually come to search and type it in, you can filter by different types. So if you are just looking for emails, over here, we can just look at what those emails are. So we click emails and now it's only going to show us the emails that are available. And if it says sequence, what that means is there's more than one email. So when I click on that here, you can see up here, it shows you there's actually 6 emails in this sequence. So it's not just emailing this new client one time, it's multiple emails. So the first one says, welcome. You have placed your trust in us. We take that very seriously. And again, you can edit any of these. We are rating them to be broad and what we think would be work for everyone, but maybe you want to make it a little bit more humorous or less, buttoned up. Maybe you want to add your video in here. So you can, again, edit any of these videos. But you can see here, it says delay 30 days. And then the next email is going to go. So you can also decide, do you want these new client sequences to be a 30-day delay, a 15-day, a 60-day? And so the second email is saying, we're just thinking about you, wanted to touch base. You'll be receiving your first statement soon. Wanted to let you know we regularly share content on social media. Here's how to connect with us and follow us. And you can add in your LinkedIn, your Facebook, wherever it is that you're wanting to connect with folks. And then you can see there's a delay from that last email of 50 days. And then the next email goes out. So these sequences are great because you set it up once. Every time you get a new client, then they get plugged into this sequence and you don't have to think about it. Over the course of the first year, they're going to get all these emails. So they have a 6-month, then there's this great family meeting one where we say, okay, we've been working with you for a while. Would you like us to meet with other members of your family to get everyone on the same page so everybody knows what we're doing with you and any kind of legacy planning? And then there's the happy anniversary. So that's all just one email sequence that you can use. And every time you put a client into the new client group in emails, they will get added to this sequence. So some other ones I just wanted to point out, there's this asking for referrals sequence, email sequence. Again, this one is 6 emails. And over the course of multiple months, it's just reminding people that you would love to work with their friends or their family. So that's a popular one. The greeting cards that we mentioned before, again, just those touch points that you want for clients. These you obviously can personalize in different ways. Oh, it's because I have new up here. But you can take a thank you card. It could be an anniversary card, a birthday card. So all of those kinds of cards are available in there as well. I am going to go back to this. If you have questions about this, because I know everybody's paying attention. The chat got quiet for a second as I'm highlighting this. So the new client welcome kit that I showed you, this is again, just a slide of that. And then the thank you cards, right? If you want to say, thank you for joining our firm and being part of our family, and we're looking forward to working with you. Here is just a little GIF showing you, and we made it a GIF since you all are going to get the slides. You can now follow these step by step after the call and see how you would set that up. But you choose a thank you card, you can customize a message, and every new client that can be part of their onboarding as well. Okay, so these are the 4 different kind of buckets that we like to think about. With somebody had asked what kind of communication in the chat, somebody had asked what kind of communication is really most effective? Like, what do people actually want to see and hear? We actually worked with Y charts to deliver a communication report about what do clients actually want to hear from their advisor about. And what the report found was that email is still top of mind in terms of content. So the Secure Act changes, or when the PPP loans were everywhere and people needed to know, small business owners needed to know about them. Email is still number 1 for any of that kind of content, right? But more and more clients are wanting to hear from their advisor with the one-to-one type things, like, hey, do this DocuSign, or hey, can you fill out this paperwork? They want texting for that. And I think that just speaks to the modes of communication that a lot of us are already using every single day. And then for social media, most clients are not thinking, hey, I want to follow my advisor on social media, right? I would love to hear if any of you have ever had a client call you up and say, I really need to follow you on Facebook. Tell me what your Facebook page is. That's not usually what happens. However, we also find that most firms are not being proactive in adding clients to their networks. And then what happens is, your best new clients are usually friends and family of the clients you have in a lot of cases, or their acquaintances. So if you do have a client that follows you on social media and you share a beautiful picture of your team at Thanksgiving going to a local charity, your clients are going to like it or leave a comment, right? And then everyone in their network has the best chance of seeing it. So making sure you invite clients to connect with you on social as part of your onboarding is really, really crucial. I'd love to know in the chat, how many of you do this? Do you actively go and connect with people on social media? At the minimum, LinkedIn, because that's a professional network. I think people feel comfortable with that. Is that something that you have a process for? Because one of the most simple ways to get your content in front of more people is every Friday, go into your LinkedIn or have someone from your team do this and look at everyone that you either had a meeting with or everyone that you send an email to and connect with them on LinkedIn. And by the end of the year, you will grow by hundreds, if not thousands of contacts. But people forget to do this, right? So we have good meetings, we have these referrals, and then we don't connect with them. So then they're not seeing our expertise being shared on social media. So absolutely, that is something that you want to be part of your process. Okay, so I see quite a few people saying LinkedIn that they do connect with people, which is great. Speaking of LinkedIn, that's so good, Aubrey. Aubrey just said, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, she just put my LinkedIn page, and I try every single day to share a really quick marketing tip. I just did one about the #1 client appreciation event, speaking of events, that we have found to be a huge hit, which is photo shoots for families, right? Everybody's stressed about getting their photos done for their Christmas cards. And we worked with an advisory firm who told us that every year they hire a photographer and they have that photographer set up like a section in the local park, and they invite families to pick 15-minute time blocks. They come to the park, and it's grandparents, parents, and kids, and they do a 15-minute photo shoot. And the firm pays for the photographer, but the individuals buy the photos directly, but they have to collect everyone's names and emails. And it's just such a great way to meet more of those family members, right? We talk about the great wealth transfer and next gen, and do it in such a low pressure, fun way, but really an event that clients appreciate because you're helping them check the box or something they have to do anyways. So let me know in the chat, is there a client appreciation event that you've done, or even an event you've done where you told clients they could bring prospects? That could even include family members, that has worked really, really well for you, because I'm always interested to hear what goes over well. I heard of a shredding event once, like people bring tons of paperwork and shredding. Leonard said a wine tasting. Okay. Candace said a cooking class. Oh, I love that idea. Ice cream social, said Bruce. I think the idea is making it not about, hey, we're going to teach you about financial planning or anything like that, right? It needs to just be fun, and the fun will attract people, and then they will equate you with fun, but they also in the back of your mind know you're a financial planner. So then when they need help with their finances, your firm is who they are thinking of. Kristen said a tailgate party. Well, Kristen, we are a Nittany Lion country here in Penn State College. So I love that idea. And then when you're collecting those emails from those events, now you have a much larger, robust email database where you can send invites to webinars that you might host. You can send invites to different events or just put them on, drip email marketing, right? All right, so here's that new client welcome sequence that I talked about with the 6 emails that we absolutely suggest you set all your clients up in. And again, we've done all the heavy lifting of writing it all out for you. So all you need to do is when you have a new client, add them to the group and it will get triggered. And this was what I had mentioned before about we just did this with Wealthbox, showing you this client retention onboarding process that we have, a workflow, if you will, between FMG and Wealthbox. So if you haven't already, it's linked in this slide, but you can watch that video to see how it works. Oops.
Welcome in, everybody.
Didn't mean to do that. Let me go back here. Okay. So these are just some suggestions on different ways that you could personalize the new client series. Of course, we already talked about video. If you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, including the links, obviously you can invite them to, get social with you. Another really great idea, if you have a dog or someone in your team does, how cute is it to say, this is our chief rollover officer, and have a picture of your dog and kind of introduce the dog to everybody. Maybe the dog's always at the office and people start to know him. So lots of different ways you can just get creative and personalize that client onboarding. Okay, so before I get into that, we have our marketing department, said Candace. That's so cute. I want to make sure that I'm getting through any questions. Does anyone have any questions specific to kind of grouping people or triggering, the different emails and how that would work? And I also just want to put this up here. If you're not I know we have quite a few people that are currently working with FMG, so it was helpful for you to see, but if you aren't and you're interested in working with us, you can use this QR code and it will trigger you to schedule a time with our team if you're like, this is great and I'd love to be able to use those tools. I also just wanted to point out one other thing that we have, which is our Do It For Me program. So if you're looking at all this and thinking, this is great, but I don't have time to use this kind of technology, I need someone just to truly do my marketing for me. This is our Do It For Me program. Every single month, Susan Theater, our CMO, and I come up with new emails, new social posts, new blog posts that we would, if we were running an advisory firm, what would we want to send out? And you get a editorial calendar that looks like this, that's color coded. So you can see, okay, we're going to have a social post on this. We're going to have an email that goes out about that. And you can see what day and time it is. And then you're paired with a marketing concierge that actually will work with you every month to send all these out, to make sure all the new clients are put in the new client onboarding sequence, to just make sure everything's flowing the way that it should, as well as help you decide what other kind of content. So should we reach out to COIs this month with our COI email sequence? Do you want to host an event, a client appreciation event? We'll help you set up your client event landing page, invite people, get all the emails set up. So you can just see a sampling here of all the different kinds of content. We also give you a marketing tip of the month, podcast idea and script, as well as a video script. And then again, as new clients come on, we're helping you add them to the new client welcome series. There's so much in here. I can't go through it all. Audrey, if you could just pop up the poll we have. If you're either a current customer or new to FMG and you would like to get more information on this, that way we're not just bombarding everybody, let us know just by answering this poll. And if you say yes, we will reach out to you and share more about it. And if you say not at the moment, then you won't have to hear about it. So that helps us make sure we're giving the right information to the right people. So thank you for that. But really, after years and years of teaching marketing best practices to people, we found so many people just said, could you just do this for me? And so that's why we created that program. Okay, just a few more things that I wanted to point out is if you are thinking about content planning for the month for October and, kind of connecting with clients in different ways, there obviously are some different holidays and observances you can think about. So for October, there is the month Halloween itself, and we have some emails and social posts. Indigenous Peoples Day, and Rosh Hashanah, and those are all in there. And then for content planning, we have open enrollment for Medicare, National Financial Planning Month, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and then the Social Security COLA release, which is huge, and everybody wants to know what that cost of living adjustment is. And so again, we have all of this content already made for you, ready to go in the library. If you search any of these terms, you're going to see the emails and social posts that go with it. So really, really making it easy to stay in touch with clients and provide so much great value for them, helping them with the things that they're curious about. Oh yeah, we also have FAFSA applications open in October and the Secure Act 2.0. And we have a really great lead gen page that can go with that. I know I'm throwing out a lot of information. Again, if you connect with our team, we can show you where to find these things and get them added for your own dashboards. And then lastly, I just wanted to point out, if you are communicating with clients regularly, but maybe you'd like to do even more when it comes to social media, especially with more breaking news, if you haven't downloaded the FMG mobile app, we have an amazing AI integration. The mobile app is free for all FMG customers, by the way. But you can see, you go in, you choose what headlines do you want to talk about. So right now, maybe it's something to do with the hurricane in Florida and insurance. You pick it and then you say, write the text for me. And we've trained this AI tool within our app to write a social post, to follow all the best social media practices we know work for best engagement. And you can write in the app there, have it write it for you, and then go ahead and post it to any of your channels. And it still, yes, does go through compliance. So if you are an FMG customer and you haven't downloaded the app already, this is where you go to download it from the App Store. I'll leave the QR code up there for a second, but it's just the FMG app. And then I had a few people mention texting. So does anybody here currently use My Rep Chat? I know we saw at least one person. So My Rep Chat, we acquired them last year. And it is just an awesome tool to make it so that you can very easily, compliantly text with your clients, but there's so much more that you can do. So instead of just, sending them one-off messages, you can set up sequences. So again, if you have a new client, rather than just them getting an email asking them to complete paperwork, they can get it via text as well. This is also huge for, the compliance part of it and the workflows. And we, lock into all of the broker dealers and the RIAs that advisors are working with. So again, if you want to learn more, there's another QR code there. But all of these different tools and services we have are really just designed to help you onboard clients and retain clients better. And I feel like I've been talking nonstop. So as a thank you for all of you being here and listening to me, hopefully you found something valuable. But you are going to get a free exclusive email that we write only for our Do It For Me customers, which is our family meeting email. And we found for the advisors deploying this email this summer, on average, they were getting 4 clients raise their hand saying, yes, I'd like to set up a family meeting, introduce you to my kids or relatives, and have everybody get together and on the same page. So again, such a great way to tap into potential prospects even within the family. So just for attending, you are going to get this email. And I would love to know in the chat, what did you find maybe to be an aha moment or a takeaway from today? Something that you feel like, I need to start doing that and I can do it, that you learned about client onboarding and the process. We would love to know. So please let us know in the chat. And then if you have other questions, I'm going to pull up the questions box, but I'd be happy to answer them. Okay. Somebody asked, where can we find the template? It looks like that was sent a little bit ago. So hopefully I answered that question. Are there any templates that you're still specifically looking for? Let me know. Somebody else said, is this being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. Let's see. Do you integrate with LPL's client work CRM? That's a great question, Aubrey. I don't know the answer to that. Stephen, I'll save your question and I will have someone from our team get back to you, because I actually do not know the answer to that. I know the large CRMs that are, Salesforce, Redtail, Wealthbox, all of those we do, but I'm not sure about that one. Okay. Are you sending out the client onboarding checklist? So if you're all the slides will get sent out. And then if you are an FMG customer, the client onboarding checklist is in the downloadables in the FMG app. Okay. We do a lot of emailing and social media regularly, but the welcome email is a great idea. Oh, I love that, Donna. Yes, absolutely. I think asking people their communication preferences, then asking them to connect with you on social media so they will continue to see your stuff. Setting up a cadence for regular meetings, all of those little touch points and having it spread out over a period of 6 months just makes such a difference, right? Is MyRep Chat and FMG integrated? So Samantha, the short answer is that we are every day working on making them more and more integrated. We want to get to a point where you'll even be able from your website, someone to come in and live chat with you and have that, come to via texting. So there'll be more and more to come. And also with the content, right? We would love for it to be able to, you go into MyRep Chat's dashboard and send out pieces of content like you're choosing them from the FMG library. So we're working to build those connections. Elizabeth said her favorite idea was adding video to the welcome email. I love that. Just automating. Michelle said, I'd like a t-shirt and a canvas bag. Yes, that would be great. Okay, so texting paired with DocuSign was a great tip. Thank you, Tanya. Register now and receive a comprehensive client onboarding checklist to ensure you stay on track. I love that. So I think I answered all the questions. Again, hope you found this helpful and worth your time. We are so thankful to all of you for joining us today. And I am just going to put this back up there in case you want to learn more about working with us. But it was a pleasure having you all join us today. And if we can help you in any way, we'd be happy to do it. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week. So thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon.